This is AI Marketing Experts, where bold marketers and next-gen AI collide. Each week, join us as we decode trends, test tools, and share real wins from the AI-powered front lines. No fluff, no hype, just straight talk and smarter marketing. Tap subscribe and let's geek out on AI.
Well, howdy, everybody, and welcome back to the AI Marketing Experts panel that we have here. We have a lot of things to kind of go over today. There's a lot of news in the AI world, just like there always is. You can't keep up with it almost. But we've got another topic today, and that is branding, how to use AI for branding for your business. Really a deep topic, and we can go into all sorts of different rabbit holes. But let's go ahead and get it kicked off here with, I would say, our branding expert, Jen. How would you say that a business should be thinking about using AI for their branding?
Well, when it comes to using AI for branding, I love to do research in Perplexity. I know that there's other tools that you can use here or other platforms, but I love to start digging into the audience first. So once I know who the target audience is, I just go down the rabbit hole of questions about the audience, meaning not just who they are, but how they want to feel about maybe it's a roofer that they're going that they're looking to hire. Like, how does that audience, how do they want to feel about that process? How do they want to feel about the roofer that they go with? What do they need to feel in order to make a decision? Like, all of those nuances of the audience, we go into all of those details. So that's really where I start things.
And what you're saying there, Jen, as well, so just thinking of the audience, you're going, okay, cool. I built my customer avatars. I've got a couple different ones. Cleaning industry. You might have new moms. You might have, empty nesters, and then the crowd, the 35 to 55 core crowd of residential cleaning people that clean their stuff on a regular basis because they're just got hectic lives and stuff like that. And now what do you do with that information? Well, we were talking, I think Laura can mention some, and Brad, we were talking about GenSpark a little bit as a tool that can do deep dive reports and can do you can do them in Notebook LM. You could do them in other, even chatgpt, if that's your tool of choice. Create a really deep multi-page, 10, 20, 30 page dossier on your ideal customer avatar, their fears, their wants, get all that information, feed it in. Now you have knowledge doc. Now when you go to write your like we talked about on the last call, we did an example of a social media plan. Add that in as the knowledge. Based on this, imagine what your content, your output is going to be even more if you're teaching the AI the fears, the wants, the ideal customer target demographic, their income levels, their all that kind of stuff. Now, can you write something that will be funny, or attract them or get their attention and stuff like that? Because you've done that deep avatar work that you wouldn't have ever thought of doing because you own a roofing company or a carpet cleaning company or whatever. You're just going to everybody's my customer. Well, that's kind of the wrong premise anyways. So
yeah, so one of the things that I was working on actually just this morning was a branding strategy for a client, and we were looking at, they do have a few different customer personas, and so we're mapping out the social strategy specific to each of the customer personas, because one persona resonates with something different than a different persona. And so once you have that knowledge and you're able to really use that to build your whole brand strategy, it really makes a big difference.
I think a couple things that were mentioned tie into what I was thinking is, so many different ways now you can use AI tools to create your content for your blog, your articles, for your social media, for your website content in general, for videos, all these different things. And once you really have a brand persona figured out using AI, you can then really make a lot of these things uniform. I mean, I know Canva, most people know what Canva is. It's a very cost-effective tool these days to create not only graphics, images, and what have you, but now videos and presentations, PDFs, all these different things. And you can really train it because it has a lot of AI baked into it. You can train it to really have your brand throughout and keep it consistent. Because when you're thinking about brand and you're thinking about how the public perception is of you, think about all the different ways you could utilize different things, whether that's voice activated or voice AI phone calls, chat bots. I mean, there's so many different things, and you want to have your brand consistent across the board. And now with AI, I mean, it's almost like an endless possibilities of how you can really step it up and really make things universal and branded throughout.
It does.
100%.
The one thing that comes to mind too, to even just take it one step further with the personas, is thinking about sometimes you need very technical when it comes to the outcome, papers, you need a technical overview of a product. So what is nice is that now, because you've got it trained on your brand, you're able to provide a technical as well as as they say, tell it to me like I'm a fifth grader. You can have different tones and it's still going to represent your brand in the way you need it to represent your brand.
And I think that's really where the big part of all of this comes from, because most people get stuck, I think, when they go to ChatGPT. They don't really know. And small business owners, if you don't know that you can train ChatGPT on your brand, your voice, and all the stuff that we're talking about here, you're going to get stuck, and it's not going to sound like you, and it's going to be garbage that comes out, right? And my dad was a programmer, and he always used to say garbage in, garbage out, right? And it's so true that if you can spend a little bit of time to do some of the things that we're talking about here, to train ChatGPT, Claude, whatever that you are using on you, your brand, and your audience, your personas, all of these things, the tone, it comes out. The output is just so much better, and it sounds so much more like you. And that's really, I think, what we're going at here and really talking about is how do you actually do that and how get down into the fine tuning of exactly that.
And if I could put a little bit of fear into people, which I always like to do, why do you need to do this in the first place? So AI is becoming the great equalizer as well. Everything we talk about on these shows shows you that if you just lean in a little bit, it becomes easier and easier and easier. I was just telling a story before we went on about my sister, late 50s, and showed her ChatGPT at Christmas. She calls hers Fabio, and they have conversations all day long about supplements and health and pets and all this kind of stuff. And she just uses it day in and day out. So again, not only consumers, our competitors. So if AI is the great equalizer where somebody can run faster than you right now, it's sort of like a first mover advantage that is then going to equalize the playing field. What I like to tell all of our clients is really your brand in the mind of your potential consumer, and then also separating your audience after the fact. We're in a business that, unlike you, Chris, where people do get cleaning done regularly every 6 months to a year. You don't need a roof every 6 months to a year. So you actually have to follow up with your database and stay in touch with them to put that fence around them, because it's much smaller transactions. And each one of those avatars should be marketed to differently. Eventually, each one of those avatars is going to have a custom email, text, thread, at their own cadence, because they're a different level client, and the AI is going to know all about that. But the bigger point is when somebody goes to their, hey, Alexa, whatever, hits their glasses and says, hey, Fabio, I need to hire a roofer. I need to hire a carpet cleaner. Can you go out and get me some quotes? And get back, and it calls out on your behalf as you carry on walking the dog or whatever. And comes back to you and gives you a list. If you don't have a brand in mind, because the company hasn't branded themselves literally in the physical local marketplace, they haven't put out all this content specifically like even physical content, door hangers and postcards and yard signs, as well as digital content following people around. You might go, you're either going to choose the cheapest price or one of your competitors does have that name recognition. And next thing you know, yeah, I've heard of those guys. Just go with them. Right. And because they come across as the best brand in the marketplace because they branded themselves better. So where it might not have been important as important 5-10 years ago, brand has come back around to being more important because everything else is equal. The cost of clicks are going up, SEO is dropping, and like not cost, but actual results and stuff like that. And it's becoming brand marketing all over again, like it was 30-40 years ago, where everything was about the best brand won. So I just fear God. I think everybody should be thinking they got to build their brand or they will become invisible in a marketplace to somebody else who did.
Well, John, I think you're bringing up some points. And one, I know we hit on it last time regarding the clicks. It's not so much that that's not going to be a player. It's the fact that because AI is presenting an actual solution without having to go through multiple sites, people just don't need to click through. So that's the reason why, again, why brand is important, why you want to be out there. And then to the garbage in, garbage out point, we don't want a bunch of white noise. We want to make sure that what is out there actually matters and it does reflect your brand and what you want out there. We can all just ramp up a bunch of content now. But again, if it's not going to deliver us our clients or the clients or growers to, per se, my clients, we each are looking as to how to help our business owners. We want them to get people that they actually will do business with. So we want to make sure that it is reflecting that. And then also to the point that was made, we need to, when we're training, we can't just say, oh, great, I've got ChatGPT. I know it's going to write for me. We have to remember that we have to train it up. We have to think of somebody as in a new employee walking in. We cannot just say, run with it. Take my business. I'm going to update or load my branding documents and some different items and say, here you go. You're on the run. We have to realize that has to be trained. And if we can take our time and do it properly, we're going to find out it works for us longer and much, much better.
So true.
100%. I would agree with that. I think that a couple of things come to mind based on the conversation is brand is front and center. I mean, that's I would tell, and I do tell all of our clients, that's really what we need to focus on now, because we don't know what's going to happen with search engine optimization or paid ads or any of these things, because it's all evolving so fast that we need to be prepared. And the bottom line is all the indicators are saying, if you really focus on building your brand and making that the center point, then that's going to be a good step in the right direction, no matter which way things go. So I think that's hugely important. There's lots of different ways that you can go into more advanced things with AI, with custom GPTs and different things where you're really loading it up with all of your collateral and all of your documents and everything, your videos, all your different things that represent your company. And so you can really train a lot of these different systems to know how to put out the right content for your business. And that's where a lot of people are going to need folks like us, because most people, the general business owners, just aren't going to delve into all that on their own. They would probably rather hire somebody that knows what they're doing to have those skill sets, to build these systems so that they're easy for the business owner to use, and then go from there. And then the last little piece is, if you think about it, even recently, businesses had spokespeople, they hired models, they hired actors, all these different things. Well, now you don't even have to do that anymore, whether you're using a software like HeyGen or Jog AI or Synthesia or all the different ones out there. You could literally just either create one of your own, record your own video or somebody in your office or yourself and train it to speak in your voice, or some of these models now that you can use in these softwares are just insanely good of how much you could just have the same one, just pick one, say, I love this one. He or she really represents my company well. And so because of, whether you're a fitness company and this particular AI model has on a workout outfit, or your audience is senior citizens, and so our spokesperson is a senior, or young people or whatever. You can just pick any type of model and then use them for your spokesperson. So it's changed so much, and it's it's just getting better, as we go along. I mean, quickly it's getting better.
100%.
How would a roofer use the video, Chris? Like, and the branding and some of this stuff, how are you guys playing that?
That's a good question. We've been playing around with VO 3, and trying to see if we can at least create some B-roll footage. A lot of the footage that we do get from clients is like drone footage from up above the house, kind of a thing, as they're working on it or as it's completed, as the job is completed. We were kind of trying to do a little bit of that even just a few weeks ago with trying to create some footage that way. I haven't honestly played around too much with the avatar type videos like Hey Jen. I tried Hey Jen personally a long time ago. It looked weird with my beard. It was like going like this right here as I was talking. So I had to abandon that one. But,
I still tell people about that experience that you had, because it's just so funny every time that I think
it
about
was
your
just so
beard
weird.
talking.
Yeah. I mean, and it's obvious that it's AI, kind of a thing. So what I've been telling my clients, honestly, on the video side of things, is beyond the B-roll footage, let's create some authentic, content. You actually pulling that $1,000 machine sitting in your pocket out, because and yes, we're an AI marketing, panel here, but I'm telling them, hey, when it comes to video, let's stay away from that. Let's keep it authentic for your brand, and so that kind of does come to a little bit of that. But where we've been helping them is coming up with ideas for videos, because most people don't have no idea what to talk about. And we've been helping them create even scripts and loading it into an app like Big View, and so that it's a teleprompter software, and you can use that $1,000 machine, whether it's an Apple or an Android, whatever, and sit there and talk to it just like as if you were just reading along. Some of them have taken that on, and they're starting to understand how important that video is in the marketing world, and how it gets people to know, like, and trust you so much faster, right? And that's hard for a roofer to do, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
especially any visual business. I've got a nephew that runs a landscaping company in a small town, about 30,000 people. And my advice to him 3-4 years ago, was just start doing social media like crazy, and just kind of film what you guys are doing. Walk up to the crew. They started doing some funny ones where they'd all dance with their shovels and stuff like that. And now they've actually do really good. So now 3-4 year iteration, because good, better, best. You just keep getting better at it. And they've hired girl in the office who edits well and adds the B-roll and stuff like that. So they can actually say, hey, today we're planting this garden. Then there's do music and people are doing stuff. And then the girl comes back again. It's just one of their employees. So yeah, we just put in all these flowers, and we again, it was hilarious because it's all all this stuff going really fast. And they're just getting tons of views. And they've blown up as a company, millions of dollars a year in sales. They're doing huge high-end $50,000-$100,000 backyard things and stuff like that because of the showing off that they can do this work, and having been done that. And in a small town, that just takes over. So any of our businesses could actually just show what they do and how they do it, and just start off with something and then get better and better and better. So.
100%.
I was just going to point out that with one little tip that hopefully they'll run with is, if you're putting a script in, ask it to be teleprompter friendly, and it will actually put it so that when you're seeing it, your mind fills in the blank, but you're not actually reading it word for word. And so as we're helping them with scripts, we'll actually do a version that is teleprompter friendly and that they feel more comfortable with, because then it comes across more natural.
One other tip on that one, that another way I learned from a guy that does a lot of video: ask ChatGPT to interview you, and you can leave that audio in or not, but ask you questions and record that, just literally stand in front of you and say, so what would you do about this? Well, that's a great question. And just answer the questions as if you're talking to somebody. and record yourself answering those questions. And some people, you can leave the questions in as if somebody off screen is asking you, or you can cut them out, and you've created video just by answering questions you answer all day long anyways, but being prompted by a voice. ChatGPT as a voice. So it's not even the teleprompter. Just that was another tip that I learned that was like, wow, that makes a ton of sense.
That's interesting. I've done that with clients before on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Doing the same exact thing just to get some sort of video from them. So that's pretty cool tip. Use ChatGPT for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
So speaking of which, right, when it comes to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, there's all these different tools out there. What's, and I know that a lot of us use ChatGPT. What are your thoughts for a small business owner on training ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, on your brand? Because we shared a video out a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago at this point, John did with us about the master prompt, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know about y'all. I tried to do that inside of ChatGPT. It did not work very well. It doesn't have enough characters in it for all of the stuff that I need to train it on. What's y'all's favorite tool when it comes to being able to do that? And what would you recommend to business owners for doing exactly that and training each of the tools on your brand?
Well, I'll just say, I think everyone needs basically a prompt builder GPT that helps them build really efficient prompts. And then you use that prompt as the system instructions for your custom GPT. So I don't know if that's getting too deep, a little nerdy for what we're talking about here, but it's really just the system instructions are really just a good prompt.
Yeah, there's always a good, better, best. It's like if you're going to, instead of trying to sort of decide which tool at first, use one and lean into it and go as far as you possibly can with that. Pay the $20 a month or whatever and go even farther. I finally talked my sister into actually paying the $20 a month because she's run into those limitations on different things like that. Once you've got that all figured out and you're really sort of leaning in, you're using it, you're watching videos like this, you're watching other people doing the kind of things you want to do with it, then you can start experimenting with some of the other ones on a free plan first before and decide if your business wise, personal wise, you need, like, we all know Claude writes better. Like, it just has a way better thought engine built into it for writing, even its iterations and stuff like that. And again, as you said, Chris, some of them just have a larger knowledge or background library for bigger things. And when you do run into those, and there'll be one out next week that Brad's going to tell us about that is, whatever, a DeepSeek derivative or something like that is all of a sudden, it's like, 20 million, 50 million characters or pages worth of content you can load in its memory and stuff like that. So we are within days or weeks, maybe not less months of that next level. Anyway, so lean in and use it. But yeah, and then you can start learning, like people like Jen, you mentioned Perplexity earlier, and it's really good when you want it to go search the web. Like, it's a really good search. And like it's been the best one at giving you citations where it learned from, showing you all of that knowledge that it built out. The other ones are trying to play catch up now, and now they're starting to, right? So, Google's Gemini is doing a really good job, and it kind of took a leapfrog there for a little bit. So yeah, I think, if you run into limitations like Chris did, then do a search on Google or ChatGPT and say, which one has a larger background knowledge base I can use, and try it. But most of our audience probably won't run into those limitations until they're really stretching stretching the bounds of some of what their tool can do. And then therefore, that's why we say just kind of stick with one to start with, and go as deep as you can and build as much as you can, and then start figuring it out.
And then we have to remember we can also do some stacking. Sorry, Brad, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good, Laura. Ladies first.
I was just going to say about stacking and using the tab feature in any of the Google Docs, so that you can go ahead and keep adding that before you do a markdown and bring it in different ways. So you're condensing, especially if you're using like a notebook LM to organize. And this may be just a little different, Chris, but having ChatGPT interview you as well. I know we've talked about several times about interviewing, but helping with the branding, getting that document down, getting those assets pulled together and stuff, but just having any of the whether it be ChatGPT or one of the others just interview you. One, it does help like that conversation style, but you do help with the training.
I think too, you guys have all kind of touched on this a little bit, is multiple tools now have features that will do deep research, whether that's Gemini, whether it's Grok or ChatGPT. Use those features to ask things like, I'm really, say something. I mean, even if you are not the best prompter in the world, talk to it or type it in and say, I am looking to build my brand, and I would like you to do some research on my competitors and give me some feedback of what they may be using or what I could glean from their ideas to make my own brand stand out. And so with these deep research tools, it's amazing what they will kick back to you. And then once you get your first response, then it's going to most all of them are going to say, okay, what else do you need? What is the next piece of this, or what question can I answer next? I know we touched a little bit on GenSpark, and GenSpark is advancing fast along with all the other ones. But ask it to do a business plan. I mean, I did such a simple prompt the other day of just to create a business plan. Here's my website, or tell it about your company, or whatever it is, and it spit out a business plan. And when you tell it to do that, ask it to include features of branding and and how you can stand out and how your business can be uniform. And I mean, it will literally create a landing page or a website mock-up for you on the free plan. I mean, it's just crazy how good these things are getting. And so utilize some of these deep research tools and things, and you'd just really be amazed.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. I was the same brand strategy that I was working on this morning. It was going through everything. I was doing the competitor analysis, and it was with let's see, I think it was in ChatGPT that I was asking it, like, what can we say that this brand, my client, that they are the only ones that do this thing? And like, it actually came up with things a lot easier than I do on my own when you're looking at, a very competitive market, and a lot of the businesses are very similar. And so it was really not an easy button, I won't say that, but close to being able to say, what is the one thing or more that this business, like, what can we say we're the only ones that do this? That was really helpful.
That's
Well, I think that, with all of this and really talking through AI in general, is that these types of tasks would take days, months to do, right? For any small business. And what we're talking about here is now shortcutting that down to, I don't know, how much time did you spend on that, Jen? Maybe an hour?
Probably a couple hours, but it was really in depth.
Yeah. So, but going from a month's worth of work down to a couple of hours is just amazing in my mind.
And then get it to mock up a mood board and to create a few ad copy examples once you're done in, like, hey, I'm about to leave. I got to go pee now. I spent 2 hours doing this. Oh, can you mock me up a mood board and create me a couple of ads while I go to the bathroom? You come back, and oh, there you go. I'll show the customer, hey, it's what I was thinking this morning about you guys, right? Or you do it yourself and you show your design team or your social team or whatever. Hey, this is what I think we should be putting out. And yeah, you've just condensed, as you said, Chris, like weeks, if not months of headache and frustration and not knowing to, a few hours and a direction. And it's not about, I was listening to something. It's not about, it's about how fast can you iterate. So how fast can you get V1 out the door, right? So you want to be a trailblazer, not, not basically the original, but somebody who can, be resourceful, right? You want to be more resourceful. You want to kind of move the marketplace and get V1 out the door and then iterate faster than other people. And AI is giving us that advantage to be a first mover, give it a try, test all this stuff out, build your customer avatars, build your brand, give your test. And if all of a sudden you go viral with something or it flops, well, you know tomorrow, next week, not next year, right? And that's unique in business, that has not existed, and we're in a whole new era. And just run with it.
I know that it was mentioned about GenSpark, but the browser feature, now I admit I'm on a PC, I don't have the Mac, so you guys can speak up as to the Mac one. But what I was watching as to how you just can click and say, hey, this is a video of me. I need slides based on it. And then, like you said, take a quick lunch break, come back and you get your slides done. And then in the other browser, you've got this summarized. I mean, it's just amazing as to how, again, efficient we can be. And to the point that we're already experts. I mean, as business owners, everybody watching this are already experts. So you know what you're looking for. It's just nice to have it faster. And like you said, the V1 out the door versus waiting until, it can be accomplished or completed.
Oh, I want to add to that just a little bit too, Laura, because one great thing too about that V1 is that we're able to go so deep on the brand that there's typically a lot less back and forth with clients because it's so right on typically from the very beginning. I mean, have you guys noticed that too, to where it's like, nailed it the first time, like much more often than it used to be.
And our clients are busy. So you're right. If we can nail it faster, I mean, it may not be on version 1, but if we're not having to have a meeting, to have another meeting, to get feedback for a third meeting, it just, again, alleviates and it gives them their time back. And that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other part of all of this is that these are assets for their business, right? For your business. If you're listening to this, you're a small business owner, these are assets for your business. And really, that's what you need to be building, right? Is assets that can be used over and over and over and over again, right? And then if you need to reiterate on it, that's fine. Do it, right? But, from my experience of 20 plus years of being in business, most people don't do even version 1 of any of the things that we're talking about here, right? So even getting to the part to where you're building your brand, you're building your brand documents, you're building all of that stuff is just, it's amazing, honestly, that it's literally in the palm of our hands right here.
Yeah.
Right. And you could go through it with your phone, talk to it, and have it build that stuff for you.
I was talking to a customer the other day, or potential customer, and we were talking. I was going deep. I was talking about taking their customer database, and how you can split it up based on frequency and history and age and demographic and postal code and known family income and housing values, and like you can just go deep and these guys get marketed more than these guys and that kind of stuff, and how you can grab all this data. And literally, to your point, Chris, the fellow turned back to me and goes, "Oh, I don't have a customer database yet." And I go, "You've been in business 10 years. Yeah, I don't market to my database." They thought lead gen and is still a business, a viable business model. And I like to say it's integrative marketing now. There's no, like, lead gen on its own works if you have an entirely beautiful, great company built with all of this stuff we just talked about and a great back end and all of these things running really, really well and great scripts and all. Then yeah, maybe you can add in another lead source or refine a lead source and hire a marketing company that just goes, yeah, I can do your pay-per-click a little bit better than the last guy. Or you don't do pay-per-click, we can add that in to the great system you have. Most businesses don't have the great system yet. And when you integrate all your marketing together, where everywhere people look, it's all the same, like it's all that great brand impressions of it. Now you can, and you've got your database and all that stuff, and you're looking for repeats and referrals, and you've just got a really well-run business. Now you can take the data out of your CRM, put it into your LLM of choice, and go, break this down for me and give me a really nuanced take on my data, and start putting brand personas in place and doing all this kind of stuff. But yeah, there are people that haven't even started the step one of the journey yet. So definitely be on the journey.
I'd be interested in having a conversation between Chris and Brad, because Chris mentioning about having, pull the machine out of your pocket, have the camera ready and run with it, where Brad's getting some great traction with other technologies. Again, both have a lot of positive things. And the biggest thing is it helps with the assets that will help with your branding and get your messages out there. But it would be kind of interesting to have pros and cons from both of you as to what you found has worked, because Chris, to your point, a lot of people hesitate to bring their phones out to do that. Brad, some people may hesitate in the fact that it's virtual. So do you guys have some conversations, or would you mind providing some additional tips on those?
I'll let
I
Brad
would
go
always
first.
say,
Duke
I
it
would
out,
just
boys.
always say, this is my motto for just about anything in life, is whatever works best for you, because at the end of the day, what may work for me or somebody in my space or industries that I work in may not work for different industries. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to find their flow, because some people are really tuned into doing things on their phone. Other people are meticulously on their laptops and big screen, and other people are sitting there on their tablet at night, doing something there. So I would say be a student of all of it, because it's ever changing, and what really might work for Jen may not work for John, you know. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
What do you find about the editing and getting it out faster? Have you found that having it more AI assistant gets it out the door, or do you find that you just add to it with the Be Real and you're able to add the text and do additional?
I think that we are able to produce a lot of content quickly. And I think what was mentioned earlier is, if you don't want to necessarily have an AI talking head, so to speak, you can still, even if you're just doing quick videos of yourself or what have you, talking about your business, you can then put it into AI tools that will put the B-roll on there and spruce it up and put the subtitles and make it look professionally done, which in years past would cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to do. And now, whether you're using an AI spokesperson or you're just being the spokesperson yourself with just raw, content where you're literally just talking to your, videoing yourself on your phone and then uploading it to BigView or to a Dropbox or whatever, so that somebody on the other end can then take that content and running it through some of these AI softwares that then spruces it up, makes it look amazing, and then goes from there. Either way, the timeline and the time that it used to take is gone now. It goes so much faster, and you can produce so much more content so much quicker.
Very good.
Yeah.
And Chris, what do you find as to the authentic of just taking going live, putting it out there, or again, having a wonderful team behind that helps with the edits and adds all the extras?
So right now, currently, I am better at going live, right? And I have personally tried the big view thing and have tried pulling that out and talking, but I find that I'm more myself, right? If I just know what the topic is and I just start talking to it, as far as that goes. And then I've got an excellent editing team behind me, so they do all the post editing, as you guys know, and take care of cleanup. Honestly, he uses AI to clean up some of my videos, because my videos sometimes, like especially like when I'm doing webinars and stuff like that, it's got this little tiny thing that it records, and I haven't figured out how to fix that in Zoom. But he ends up having to run it through AI to fix it. I think it looks great, basically upscaling it, right? So it's not pixelated when he does like a short or a reel or something like that out of it. But I think the point on all of this is that, just like what Brad said, pick the tool, use it, get better at it. What's been working for me lately is that, as you guys know, I've been walking a lot, right? And then get ready for this backpacking trip that I'm about to go on. I'm walking 3 hours a day. Okay. So that's a lot of time of just me. And so I end up talking to ChatGPT constantly, right? About and adding things and talking through a lot of things with ChatGPT using my AirPods and my phone, and that's just, I find that way more efficient anyways. I almost pull it out most times to talk to my phone, and then to edit it and do whatever I need to do, go to my desktop or actually laptop, in this case. So
That's fantastic. And I think that the viewers will appreciate the fact that we are all experimenting with different ways, and there is no one and only one option. Yeah. So find out, like Brad was saying, do what you can. And to John's point, we've got the good, best, or better and best that we can move forward with. So
totally. I think that's a great analogy, Laura.
Just do it. It's mainly we have to just step forward and do it. To Jen's point of make sure our branding is out there.
Yeah. AI is not going to go away. Branding's only going to be more important. So, find a way to try it out, test it out, use the free tools, and find experts to help you, whatever it takes. But don't ignore it because you'll get left behind.
Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the AI Marketing Experts. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you hit smash that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to us if you haven't subscribed yet. Wherever that you're following us, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, right? Just follow us and keep on listening in. But be sure to go to AImarketingexperts.com. And thanks so much for tuning in, y'all.